Hi, welcome to our book talk of chilling reads. This is Rachel from the Wheaton Public Library Youth Services Department. We're going to share some of our favorite chilling, scary, send a shiver down your spine books, perfect for reading at this time of year. We hope you enjoy, and we hope you might want to read some of these yourselves. So the book I'm going to introduce is The Jumbies by Tracy Baptiste. This is the first book in a trilogy, so if you end up reading it and enjoying it, there are other books to continue the story of 11-year-old Corinne Lemaire. She lives in Trinidad, an island in the Caribbean, and something's going on the island. We meet some creatures from the island's folklore, and specifically we meet a jumbie. Now, what is a jumbie? Why is it there? Why is it bothering the humans? We don't know, but you will come to find out Corinne's connection with the jumbie and how she and her friends have to defeat it. I want to read a little bit of the book from the very beginning, so I won't be giving anything away, but just so you get a taste of what it's like. After a few minutes, the trees thinned. There was a bit more sunlight filtering through the branches. Corinne breathed easier. Her heart slowed its pace, but she continued to hurry over the uneven ground, ducking beneath trees as she went. Then, behind her, the bushes rustled. She turned just in time to see something move in the shadows. Surely it was only an animal. But what if it was another kind of thing entirely? The kind of thing from the grown-up stories. A jumbie. The hairs on her arms stood on end. She gripped her mama's necklace as she glanced behind her. From a curtain of shadow, the two large yellow eyes blinked. Corinne turned and ran as fast as she could. The thing snarled and rushed after her. Read it to find out how Corinne and her friends have to defeat the jumbies.
Hello, I'm Marianne from Youth Services Department, and my recommendation for the chilling reads is Are You Scared, Darth Vader? By Adam Rex. And Darth Vader says, I fear nothing. Do you think that's true? Do you think there's anything that can scare Vader? Let's see. I'm going to read a few of these pages. It's midnight. There's a full moon. Are you scared, Darth Vader? I do not get scared. Nothing has the power to frighten Lord Vader. But what about? And then the book goes on and brings several scenarios to Vader to see if it would frighten him or make him scared. And then, after that, they start pummeling Vader with questions. Are you afraid of spiders? No. Are you afraid of black cats? No. Are you afraid of public speaking? No. Are you afraid of the dark? Is that a joke? So, you're not scared, Darth Vader? I'm not scared. I will never be scared. Who could possibly scare Lord Vader? Think that's true? Wow. As we keep turning the pages in this book, we find there is something that scares Darth Vader. Do you know what it is? Can you guess? Gotta read the book. Didn't you always wonder what makes him scared? There's something. So this is the book. We read this book for the Tweens story time this summer and thought I'd introduce it for my chilling reads. So happy discovering.
Hello. The book I'm sharing with you today is called Erie Elementary, The School is Alive by Jack Shabert. The reading level for this book is grade 2, but it's great for grades 1 through 3 or anyone who likes a spooky, scary, fast-paced, easy read. In this book, we meet Sam Graves, who you see here on the cover. He has just been picked to be hall monitor at his school. And he's not very happy about this because he thinks this is going to make him unpopular with the other kids. On his very first day, Sam finds out quickly that there's a lot more to being a hall monitor than he thought there might be, because his school is actually alive. And not only is it alive, but it's a hungry beast who is hungry for students. Yike. So I'm going to read you a little excerpt. Sam looked up at the school building. He thought it looked like an old castle made of crumbling red brick. The paint on the doors and windows was chipped. Big black crows sat on the roof, watching Sam. The whole thing gave him the willies. Sam didn't want to be out there any longer than he had to. He ran over to the playground. He was near the swings when something grabbed his ankle. Sam looked down. His feet were sinking into the sand. Now, of course, feet do sink into sand, but not like this. Something was pulling him under. "Help!" Sam shouted. The sand was up above his sneakers. He reached down to pull his feet free. The sand was wet. Quicksand. This was just like the quicksand from the old Tarzan movies Sam had watched. "Help! The playground is eating me!" Sam shouted. The sand was up to his knees now. Sam fought and kicked. He watched as Brian's hat was swallowed up in the sand. It was no use. The cold, wet sand was up to his waist. Sam squeezed his eyes shut as he was pulled down, deeper and deeper. Oh no! What do you think is going to happen to Sam? Well, if you pick up this book, you can read it for yourself and find out. And if you like this book, it's a series, so you can read more adventures with Sam and his friends and the Beastly School.
Hello, my name's Brooke, and I'm with the Wheaton Public Library in the Youth Service Department. And today I'm going to share with you a chilling read. This is called Paranorman, and it's by Elizabeth Cody Kimmel. This book is great for Halloween because it's about Norman, who lives in a town called Blythe Hollow, and it is the 300th anniversary of a curse that a witch put on her enemies and turned them into zombies. Well, Norman has a gift. He can see and talk to dead people and animals. But needless to say, he gets involved, and it's up to him to stop the curse. So this book is actually based on a movie. And I actually like the book better because I got to use my imagination to think about what characters might look like. The narrator told me what they were thinking, which was fun. And the author gave a lot of information in the beginning so that I felt like I was experiencing the same things that Norman was. Whereas in the movie, they leave some information until the end because that makes it more suspenseful. So I'm going to read a little bit of the book for you from chapter 3. Norman sat quietly, observing the zombie as he stalked the perky teenage girl, his eye sockets glittering darkly and his smile crammed with broken, rotting teeth. Norman did not move from his spot on the floor next to the worn, sagging sofa, even though he had seen this play out all too many times before. He knew the zombie was about to burst into the old cabin where the girl was hiding. She was about to kick the bucket, and it wasn't going to be pretty. "What's happening now?" came a voice behind him. Norman's eyes remained glued to the television. "The zombie is about to eat her head, Grandma," Norman told her. One morning, not long after her own funeral, Grandma Babcock had strolled into the living room right through a solid wall, as casually as if she'd just been down at the store getting a quart of milk. She'd been hanging around the house, mostly on the living room couch with Norman ever since. It had been going on for about 11 months now, and she showed no signs of wanting to leave. "That's not very nice," Grandma Babcock remarked. "What's he doing that for?" "Because he's a zombie," Norman explained. "That's what they do." "Well, he's going to ruin his jacket," Grandma Babcock observed. "I'm sure if they just bothered to sit down and talk it through, it'd be a whole different story." "Zombies can't talk. They mostly groan," Norman said. Well, look at him. My goodness, Grandma exclaimed as the camera zoomed in on the hideous, leering face. He looks like death on toast. What he needs to do is eat right and take a little exercise. Maybe a nice power nap. Norman chuckled. He could use a rest, all right, he said. A nice eternal rest. He could. Norman Babcock, yelled a deep voice from the direction of the kitchen. Norman winced. Didn't I tell you to take out the garbage? The voice boomed. Norman shot his grandmother an apologetic look as he got to his feet. Coming, Dad, he called. It was really too bad. The zombie was just unhinging his jaw so he could get a really good bite of the teenager's skull. She was going to bleed like crazy. His father always interrupted during the good stuff. Grandma Babcock gave Norman a look, squinting at him through her thick glasses and adjusting her pink and blue velour tracksuit. Tell him to turn up the thermostat, will ya? She asked. My feet are like ice. Norman nodded and shuffled into the kitchen glumly. About time, Norman's dad grumbled. Did you not hear the last 20 times I asked you to take out the trash? I was yelling loud enough to wake the dead. Norman wordlessly opened the lid of the garbage can to tie up the bag. It smelled bad enough to wake the dead too, he thought. And who was his dad trying to fool, all decked out in his Tool Town professional craftsman belt and safety goggles? He was changing a stupid light bulb, for crud's sake. Thanks, sweetheart, his mother said, her back to him as she emptied the dishwasher. You can get back to your show as soon as you toss that outside. What are you watching? A movie about a zombie who eats brains, Norman said. That's nice, said his mother. But they have to be from living people, Norman added, so the zombie has to bite their heads open while they're still alive. Sounds cute, his mom said, examining a spoon, then placing it back in the dishwasher. Norman sighed and hauled the garbage bag out of the container. Zombies again, his father muttered, pushing and pulling at the light bulb with no visible result. Why can't you be like other kids and pitch a tent in the yard in your free time, or save your allowance for a nice toolkit? Because I like zombies, Norman said. Because I like dead stuff in general, he added silently. But he never says something like that out loud. In the 11 years he'd been on the planet, Norman had become something of an expert at flying under the radar, hiding his true personality. Oh, it was there if you really looked, but no one ever did. Norman had learned early in life that all you had to do to avoid attention was to blend in like wallpaper. But there was no disguising his love of zombie movies. One only had to walk into his room, which was covered with horror film posters and action figures and light-up zombie heads, to know that. Mr. Babcock stared at his son for a moment, then sighed and shook his head. So, like I said, this is a really good book. And if you want to find out if Norman stops the curse, and, you know, he likes his gift, but a lot of people think he's a freak. So I don't know, maybe you'll be able to make some friends in this book. Maybe not, you'll have to find out. Also, you could watch the movie and compare them. What's the same, what's different, which one did you like the best? So I hope you have an awesome Halloween. Bye.
Here are some other titles you might enjoy. House of Secrets by Chris Columbus and Ned Vizzini. Brendan, Eleanor, and Cordelia Walker once had everything: 2 loving parents, a beautiful house in San Francisco, and all the portable electronic devices they could want. But everything changed when Dr. Walker lost his job in the wake of a mysterious incident. Now in dire straits, the family must relocate to an old Victorian house that used to be the home of novelist Denver Kristoff, a house that feels simultaneously creepy and too good to be true. By the time the Walkers realize that one of their neighbors has sinister plans for them, they're banished to a primeval forest way off the grid. Their parents, gone. Their friends, a world away. And they aren't alone. Bloodthirsty medieval warriors patrol the woods around them. Supernatural pirates roam the neighboring seas, and a power-hungry queen rules the land. To survive, the siblings will have to be braver than they ever thought possible and fight against their darkest impulses. The key may lie in their own connection to the secret Kristoff legacy, but as they unravel that legacy, they'll discover it's not just their family that's in danger, it's the entire world. Seraphina in the Black Cloak by Robert Beatty. Seraphina has never had a reason to disobey her pa and venture beyond the grounds of Biltmore Estate. There's plenty to explore in her grand house, although she must take care to never be seen. None of the rich folk upstairs knows that Serafina exists. She and her pa, the estate's maintenance man, have secretly lived in the basement for as long as Serafina can remember. But when children at the estate start disappearing, only Serafina knows who the culprit is, a terrifying man in a black cloak who stalks Biltmore's corridors at night. Following her own harrowing escape, Serafina risks everything by joining forces with Braden Vanderbilt, the young nephew of Biltmore's owners. Braden and Serafina must uncover the man in the black cloak's true identity before all the children vanish one by one. Serafina's hunt leads her into the very forest that she has been taught to fear. There she discovers a forgotten legacy of magic, one that is bound to her own identity. In order to save the children of Biltmore, Serafina must seek the answers that will unlock the puzzles of her past. Case File 13, Zombie Kid by J. Scott Savage. I have collected every side of the story and every piece of evidence on case number 13. Now in this file, you will find all you need to follow the dark adventures of Nick, Carter, and Angelo, 3 boys who possess an unhealthy obsession with monsters in a town so grisly, so horrific. You hold in your hands a very dangerous, very funny record detailing the hilarious adventures of 3 boys who have an awesome obsession with monsters. This is the first volume. Read on if you dare. And A Tale Dark and Grim by Adam Gidwitz. Reader, beware. But if you dare, turn the page and learn the true story of Hansel and Gretel, the story beyond and behind the breadcrumbs, edible houses, and outwitted witches. Come on in. It may be frightening, it's certainly bloody, and it's definitely not for the faint of heart. But unlike those other fairy tales you know, this one is true.